Rome was built by Romans, a city of destiny, forged by its own people. But one of its greatest and most transformative kings was not Roman at all. His name was Lucius Tarquinius Priscus, an outsider who would forever change the eternal city. This is the story of the fifth king of Rome, a man whose reign marked a dramatic shift in the city's history. Before him, Rome's kings were chosen from among its own. They were shepherds, warriors, and lawgivers who embodied the Roman spirit. But Tarquin was different. He was an immigrant, a foreigner with a past shrouded in wealth and ambition. Born far from the 7 hills he would one day rule. In a society fiercely proud of its heritage, the idea of a non-Roman on the throne was not just unusual. It was revolutionary. It challenged the very identity of Rome and set the stage for a new era of expansion, grandeur, and power that would echo through the centuries. How did this outsider rise to the very top? And what was the price of his ambition? Our story begins not in Rome, but in the heart of Etruria, in the powerful and sophisticated city-state of Tarquini. It was here that a boy named Lucumo was born. He was the son of Demaratus of Corinth, a wealthy Greek nobleman who had fled his homeland due to political turmoil. Demaratus settled in Tarquini, married an Etruscan noblewoman, and amassed a great fortune. Young Lucumo grew up surrounded by the riches of 2 cultures, the refined arts and philosophy of Greece, and the mystical, aristocratic traditions of the Etruscans. He inherited his father's wealth and his sharp intellect, but he also inherited his status as an outsider. Despite his riches and noble Etruscan mother, the elite of Tarquini never fully accepted him. To them, he was always the son of a foreign exile. His path to power and honor was blocked by the simple fact of his birth. This constant discrimination fueled a fire within him, a deep-seated desire to prove his worth and achieve the greatness he felt he deserved. Beside him was a woman as ambitious as he was, his wife, Tanaquil. She was an Etruscan aristocrat, well-versed in the arts of prophecy and utterly convinced of her husband's destiny. She saw his frustration in Tarquini and knew his talents were being wasted. It was Tanaquil who urged him to leave. She argued that Rome, a young and vibrant city, was a place built by newcomers and adventurers. There, she believed, a man's virtue and ability would matter more than his ancestry. Persuaded by her logic and his own burning ambition, Lucumo gathered his household and fortune and set out on the journey to Rome. As their cart approached the Janiculum Hill, overlooking the city, a remarkable omen occurred. An eagle swooped down from the sky, gently lifted the cap from Lucumo's head, circled high above, and then descended to place it back. Tanaquil, interpreting the divine sign, embraced her husband. The eagle was a messenger of the gods, and its action was a clear prophecy. One day, he would wear a crown. With this divine encouragement, they entered Rome, where Lucumo adopted a new, Romanized name, Tarquinius Priscus. Once in Rome, Tarquin wasted no time in making his presence felt. He used his immense wealth and natural charisma to build a powerful network of friends and allies. He was generous with his money, hosting lavish banquets and offering loans to those in need. He was also a man of great intelligence and eloquence, and he quickly caught the attention of the reigning king, Ancus Marcius. The king was impressed by Tarquin's wisdom and counsel, and soon appointed him as a trusted advisor and guardian to his own sons. Tarquin excelled in this role. He proved himself to be a brilliant military commander in Rome, as wars, and a wise administrator in its civic affairs. He cultivated a reputation among the people as a capable and dedicated public servant. He was everywhere, always visible, always working for the good of Rome. When King Ancus Marcius died, Tarquin saw his moment. He cleverly sent the king's nearly adult sons away on a hunting trip. Vitam gone Tarquin addressed the Roman assembly, the Comitia. He delivered a masterful speech, highlighting his service to the city and his loyalty to the late king, arguing that he was the most qualified man to lead Rome. Persuaded by his words and his years of public goodwill, the people of Rome elected him as their 5th king. The prophecy of the eagle had come true. King Tarquin's reign was immediately tested by war. Rome's neighbors, the Latins, and the Sabines, saw the death of Ancus Marcius as an opportunity to challenge the city's growing power. But they had underestimated the new king. Tarquin was a formidable military strategist. He led the Roman army with skill and courage, defeating the Latin tribes one by one and capturing their towns. He then turned his attention to the powerful Etruscan Federation, the very people who had once scorned him. In a series of brilliant campaigns, he subdued several Etruscan cities, forcing them to acknowledge Rome's dominance. These victories brought immense wealth and territory to Rome. Triumphant processions filled the streets as Tarquin returned with spoils of war and thousands of captives. He celebrated his victories by introducing the Etruscan custom of the triumph, a grand parade for a victorious general. He also brought other Etruscan symbols of power to Rome: the golden crown, the ivory throne, and the purple-bordered toga, all of which became enduring symbols of Roman authority. Under his command, the Roman army became more organized and professional, and Rome itself grew from a regional power into the undisputed master of central Italy. With Rome's borders secure and its treasury full, Tarquin embarked on an ambitious building program that would transform the city's landscape forever. His greatest and most lasting project was the construction of the Circus Maximus. He drained the marshy valley between the Palatine and Aventine hills and laid out a vast racetrack for chariot races, a spectacle that would become a cornerstone of Roman entertainment for 1,000 years. He also recognized the city's urgent need for better sanitation and infrastructure. He initiated the construction of the Cloaca Maxima, the greatest sewer, a massive engineering feat that drained the low-lying areas of the city, including the future site of the Roman Forum. This not only improved public health, but also reclaimed valuable land for public and religious buildings. Tarquin also laid the foundations for the magnificent temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus on the Capitoline Hill, although it would be completed by his successors. His vision set the standard for Roman religious architecture. Through these monumental projects, Tarquin wasn't just building structures, he was building a capital. He was turning a collection of hilltop villages into a grand, unified city worthy of its growing power. As he reshaped Rome's physical form, Tarquin also reshaped its political structure to consolidate his own power. He believed the monarchy needed to be stronger and more centralized. One of his first moves was to expand the Senate, Rome's Council of Elders. He added 100 new senators, chosen from his most loyal supporters among the minor noble families. This move, known as creating the minors' gentes, or lesser houses, both rewarded his allies and diluted the influence of the old aristocratic families who might have opposed him. By doubling the Senate's size with men who owed their position to him, he ensured that his policies would meet with little resistance. He ruled with a firm hand, often bypassing traditional customs to assert his royal authority. While his predecessors had governed as first among equals, Tarquin governed as a true monarch. He established a precedent for a more autocratic style of kingship, where the king's will was law. This made him incredibly effective, but it also sowed seeds of resentment among the old patrician elite who felt their power slipping away. Tarquin reigned for 38 prosperous years, but his rise to power had created powerful enemies. The two sons of Ancus Marcius, whom Tarquin had cheated out of the throne decades earlier, had never forgiven him. They had watched from the sidelines as the foreign king grew more powerful and beloved by the people. Now old men themselves, they saw their last chance for vengeance slipping away. They hatched a plot. They hired 2 assassins, disguised as shepherds, who approached the king in the royal palace, pretending to have a dispute that required his judgment. As Tarquin leaned in to listen to one of them, the other struck him on the head with an axe. The king fell, and the assassins fled. But the plot did not end there. The quick-thinking Queen Tanaquil concealed the king's death. She addressed the public from a palace window, announcing that the king was only wounded and that, while he had appointed his favored son-in-law, Servius Tullius, to rule in his place. This clever deception allowed Servius to secure control of the government. By the time Tarquin's death was finally announced, Servius was firmly in power, and the sons of Ancus Marcius were once again denied the throne. Tarquin's legacy was immense. He had transformed Rome from a provincial town into a major city, enriched it with conquest, and adorned it with monumental architecture. But his assassination revealed the growing tensions surrounding the monarchy. The reign of the outsider king was over. Lucius Tarquinius Priscus had given Rome grand new buildings, a stronger army, and a more prominent place in the world. But he had also introduced a more absolute form of power, one that was won through ambition and held by force. Rome would never be the same again, because power had learned how to wear a crown.